everybody, this is Boxing Bros UK. I am here's the boss Chris. This is my co-host Andrew the Boxing Brain. The topic of today is he's back.
Oh,
the big bad John Fury, king of the
Sonora. Blood God Sonora.
The man who rips out eyeballs, knocks out everybody in street fights, headbutts 19-year-olds in the head who are half his size. The baddest man who lives in a caravan.
Baddest man, Mike Tyson, Chris. Baddest man on the planet since Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
we got to watch along for you people.
Yeah.
This should be a stay tuned.
I've spliced it because it was 40 minutes long. I just wanted to know about the Fury.
The views on the Tommy Fury video, people. It's doing well.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that. Like the video. Don't forget, if you haven't liked it, please go back and like it for us.
Share it to all your friends and family and children and fathers and mothers.
Let's go.
There's only one man guided him. Net alive.
You said you don't want to get into the conversation surrounding Tyson Fury. And first of all, the breakdown from the second fight with Alexander Usyk. Just set the table for me in terms of what you made of that fight and Tyson's performance.
Well, first and foremost, he had his belt stolen off him, didn't he? He had them stolen off him.
No, he didn't.
To be honest with you. And what can you say? When somebody's paid you a shed load of money, they seem to resent letting you stay champion as well, don't they? You know, and for my money, he probably didn't want to pay him the same amount again. Probably couldn't afford to pay Tyson that same money again if he'd let him remain as champion. For me, he won both fights. He didn't look in fantastic shape in this second one, you know. And in the first one, he needed more rest time. To be honest with you, he put a full camp in 7 weeks, got cut. He had 3 weeks rest, and he's back in the gym for another 8 weeks. You can't do those things. So by the time he got...
I just want to pause it there. Yeah, he's got a good point there, but there's only one thing wrong with that point. So did Usyk have to do the exact same fucking thing as he did. Exactly the same. So what's the difference? They both had to do the exact same thing.
It's like a football team. It's like a football team complaining that the pitch was no good. It's like both teams have got to play on it.
Yeah. Do you know what? It just makes no sense. That is a shit argument. And as for that, he didn't want to pay him so much money. The money, if whoever won the first fight gets the lion's share in the second fight, yeah? So it doesn't matter if Usyk or Tyson won, he was still going to have to pay out, regardless, the same amount. So what is he talking about? What is he exactly talking about? It makes no sense.
There's bias, mate. There's bias.
In the ring, the first fight with Usyk, he'd overtrained. There was nothing left of him. But he was facing a $10, $15 million fine. He was backed in a corner and he couldn't do it. I told him, take the fine. Take the fine. I said, he's not going to fine you. There's no show without you. There's no show, you know. But anyway, he didn't want to let fans down. He didn't want to let people down. You know, but sometimes you've got to make your own decisions and not care about other people so much. You know, but like I say, he overtrained the first time. He had 2 camps back to back. It's like training for 4 months for a fight. No rest.
Same thing.
And you know, for my money, he left the best work in the gym. He needed rest time. The second time, I never got involved at all because
you're an idiot.
You know, my own personal reasons, which I'm not going to go into because there's no need to because the horse has bolted. But Tyson could be in a lot better shape. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to
just pause it there because I just want to make a small point. Right?
If you put
the difference is. Again, I understand what he's saying. The difference is Usyk stays in shape all year round, keeps ticking over. Tyson, we know with his natural ability. We know that he's a natural boxer, loves to spar. But when it comes to what he's putting in his gob, the nights out, the alcohol, we all know it kind of goes on in between camps. He's then having to kind of take too much off. Do too much strength and conditioning, whatever, doing the run. He's having to do extreme things to get back in shape. Whereas if he just ticked over, he wouldn't have to empty the tank so much. That's the difference. Usyk ticks over, Fury's not. Sure, that surely it's a logical answer.
Exactly.
Or am I missing something? Or
just to prove your point even more, before I press play again, what did Fury do? 4 days after the first fight, he was getting picked up off the floor, pissed out of his head by the doorman in Polton.
Was it Benidorm he was at?
I think he was it Benidorm or was it? No, I think he was in his local town in Polton.
It was after the second fight, maybe. Benidorm more.
It was after the first fight. It was after he lost the first fight. He was in his local town. I think it was Polton or Lancaster somewhere. And he was smashed out of his head. 4 days after, pissed out of his head. And what was Usyk doing? Training. working or resting, not putting poison in his body straight away. Like that's the difference. That's why he lost, because he's not a consummate professional, and he's never has been. He's always been a bit liking certain things that he shouldn't be liking, and that's why when you get older,
got him through, Chris, didn't it? His talent and his ability got him through until now.
Well, it's like what you said the other day. What's that saying? How does it go?
Hard work beats talent. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Exactly, and that's what fucking happened to Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Hard work. You just don't look like that. I know he's always been a little overweight, but you know something. You've got to look like you've done something. And unfortunately, he didn't look like that. But how good is he when he can perform with the best in the world who's had the knackers washed for him and still win? You know, because like I said, his body didn't represent work to me. And what I call work and his team calls work is two different things. You know, but listen, like I said, the horse has bolted. For mine, when he won both fights, they stole his belts off him. You know, they've took the biggest ticket seller out the game. Because without Tyson Fury, there's no dance partners. You know, this thing what's happening now, Usyk and the other one, the bar, that's never going to be a 95,000 crowd. You need a dance partner, and let me tell you.
Let me pause
Tyson
it there.
Fury, the Gypsy King, is the best dancer.
I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying.
Money, big money. Without the Gypsy King, you're not getting it.
Right, let me pause it there. I've got some facts and figures here. What he's saying is absolute bollocks, yeah? He's saying, without the Gypsy King, he's the main man, he's a ticket seller, blah, 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 yeah? I've got the pay-per-view figures here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. So you're telling me Tyson Fury's made mega money, yeah? He sold everything out. So the gate for the first Fury Usyk, 3 million on the gate, 40 million sponsors, yeah? And then 1.5 million in pay-per-view buys. Yeah? And that translated to about what's like 1.5 times 20. I think it translated to about 150 million. So you got 150 million on pay-per-view buys. Then you've got another 40 million for sponsors, and then 3 million you got about 200 million to play with, maybe a bit over, right?
Yeah.
Tyson Fury got paid $105 million for that first fight. $105 million, and Usyk got paid $45 million. So Turkey Al-Sheikh is left with $55 million. And don't forget, he had all that crazy, all the crazy shit, all the commercials that are like movies of all the action scenes. So he probably didn't make any money from that fight. So how can you sit there and say, this is the guy? And another thing, so that was worldwide, that 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Eubank Jr. and Ben did 1 million pay-per-view buys, just England, basically. Just us Brits. 1 million. And it wasn't even undisputed. So don't give me that shit about Tyson's the big ticket seller. Everyone can sell tickets because people love boxing in the UK. We love boxing. So it's, it's just ridiculous.
I get what, playing devil's advocate a bit, I get what he's saying in that Fury's a bigger worldwide name than Usyk. And I understand what he's driving at is that, Fury, because the Fury AJ fight, if that ever happens, still is mega. And he is a massive ticket seller, Fury. But he is one of these he is, I suppose, a crossover star, So I get what he's saying. But at the end of the day, it's a mute point, because what he's essentially saying there, Chris, is essentially he's basically saying, well, I think he won, but he should have won anyway because he's the big ticket seller. Therefore, there should have been some phony business going on where he should have been allowed to win on the scorecards. That's essentially what he's fucking saying. Isn't it? That's essentially what he's saying.
He's trying to say, because Tyson sells more tickets, he should have stayed champ. It's about who is the best. It's not about who sells the most.
Shady.
That's not what it's about.
And at the end of the day, the right man won. Usyk was the vast majority of people say won both fights, and it was the right man. And also, I think it's better for boxing. Usyk. I hate to say it, I'm a massive follower of British fighters. But the way he was sort of strangle holding that WBC belt, I'm glad Usyk won in many ways because it's good for the sport.
So am I. And even the thing is, it's not all about money for Usyk. This is why I love Usyk, because he's fighting for undisputed again for probably a quarter of that money in England. against a live dog who's hungry and who's flying, a young hungry lion who's flying right now.
Yeah,
and you can't say that they can't sell tickets because they sold 60,000 in a week or 2 weeks already. And the fight's not till July, so it's going to be a sellout. So it's full of shit. Tyson sells a lot of tickets, yeah, but it's time for the old guard to fuck off and the new blood coming through, and they can sell tickets too. You can't just stay there because you sell tickets. It's like Manny Pacquiao just coming out of retirement and getting a title shot. It's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to let the young guys come through. You know?
Yeah.
You know, because I knew he weren't training right. The people around him was only looking for kudos and a few quid. Because let me tell you in this game, when it's a man's living and he's depending on that money, you're never going to get the truth out of him. You're never going to get the truth. They're just there for a paycheck, these people. I'm sincere. These are my sons and I love them. And I'm working totally for free. I don't want any money. Let them have all the money. I just want them to do the work. I want to see them grind. I want to see them sweat. I want to see them nearly cry. Nearly see them spew up in the gym, you know. And they passed that test. But you do get in the ring fit with me. And you do look like you've been training, you know, but Tyson's a phenomenal champion.
Why do none of them look any good? And why, even when Tyson was getting trained by him on Channel 5, he was punching himself in the face.
Tommy, the opposite. Tommy looks great, but fucking can't do nothing in the ring. And then the other two don't look like shit, but
what is he talking about? What credentials has he got to prove that he's a good coach? None.
There'll never be another like him, but I'll tell you what. If he trained like these two boys who I've got trained, he'd be champion while they're 50-year-old. Because he can't do any good with him when he's basically out of shape because he don't do any conditioning work. It's all light pads, bit of bag work, bit of skipping, sparring, you know, but you need more to it. You need that grind. You need to put some muscle on your frame. And that's what he was short of. There's no muscle on his frame. I call it fat thin. Fat thin is what it is. And he knows himself. You know, maybe he'll smell the coffee one day and maybe say, I'm going to spend 12 months getting my body in tip-top shape, get all this surplus crap off my body, get some muscle on my frame, then start 12-week boxing camp, punching, learn to get the skills back, the moves back. Because for me, he's lost all that movement. The movement he had, the trickiness, the achy jerky, the thing that made him great, they've took away from him. Because every heavyweight can hit, every heavyweight can stand there and trade shots. You know,
I've got bored there.
Over the last.
What he just said makes no sense. 1 minute you're saying strength and conditioning, he needs to be strong, and then the other minute, then you're saying they took away his slipping and sliding. No, that was their strategy to be fitter, to be slimmer, so that they could slip and slide and box with Usyk. But you can't box with Usyk. You can't do it. So he just contradicts himself.
We were saying it yesterday, Christo, weren't we? It was the wrong approach, right? You go in there with Usyk, you're not going to match him for IQ. You're not going to match him for technical ability. You're not going to match him for skill, for footwork, for in and out of range. The only way, you're the much bigger man. You're a foot taller, 5 stone heavier. Walk him down and try and hurt him. You know, pack on as much muscle as you can and try and beat him up. And if you get clipped in the pros, why that wasn't the tactic, I don't know. And I've said this multiple times. And like you said, 1 minute he's saying he wants him to skip around the ring, and then he's saying he wants to come in there looking like Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger. Well, which is it?
Exactly. And in the second fight, even in the first fight, while he was on the back foot, how are you on the back foot to a man who's smaller than you, weighs less? Like, it was just the wrong strategy.
He's took a lot of punishment. And maybe that's put miles on the clock. Maybe it's ended his career. You don't know.
Yeah, them 3 Wilder fights.
I've seen my son a lot better than that.
Well, 2 Wilder fights. To
be honest with you, Usyk in that last
fight.
No,
he's right there. I agree with him there.
The two never really done anything, did they? It was more like a 12-round sparring session, which Tyson won. But if Tyson would have been super fit, body rock hard, muscled up, he'd have tore his way straight through him. He's getting it right, isn't it? But that's just my opinion. Nobody else's. That's how I've seen the full thing. Tyson could have been a lot better physical than he was. Great boxer. No two-phased attacks, you know, couldn't keep the pressure on, and he didn't look to be punching with that much power either. So whatever they was doing in Malta, I don't know, but you know what? That's my opinion for what it's worth. Probably worth nothing, but there you go. But did he get his belt stolen off him? Of course he did. Both occasions.
Rubbish.
Usyk was a lucky man. Timing was right for him. That's all I can say about that. But Tyson will never be another champion like him. There'll never be another ticket seller like him from the UK.
Bollocks.
Ever. What's done's done. But let me tell you.
It's like to stop it there.
Good luck to Alexander Usyk.
AJ, look, if
I didn't have time.
the facts up, yeah, but AJ has sold more than Tyson, or equal at least. I guarantee it, because let's not forget, when Tyson Fury beat Klitschko, nobody cared about him, and AJ was doing 1 million pay-per-view buys with Dylan White for a British title at the start of his career. He was smashing it. Even that Dubois fight, so. There are British fighters that can smash it like that. There is. Look at Katie Taylor. Look. She's a woman. She's smashing it. Like
Ben Whittaker coming through. I mean, like him or loathe him, he's definitely a ticket seller, you know. And AJ opened the door for Tyson, really, in terms of making the money in the heavyweight division. But yeah, he is. Listen, he's a massive ticket seller. He's a worldwide, you know, mega famous star. But he is. It's just pure father bias, isn't it? It's delusion, really, a lot of this.
It's like when Nigel Benn was saying that Conor Ben was like destroying everyone who's sparring, and he's going to destroy you.
Nigel Benn was the worst. Making out Conor Ben was the second coming of Muhammad Ahmad Ali, mate. It's unbelievable.
Do you know what, actually? Maybe we're being a bit too harsh, because it's his boy. So he's trying to be truthful, and contradicting himself and saying, yeah, but he won still. And after
that's what it is. It's just father bias, and I get it, but it wouldn't make for an entertaining video if we just agreed with him, would it? So,
yeah. And his advice, we get to that.
He deserves to stay champion for a long time, but again, he's going to go on too long. And I just see now Daniel Dubois becoming a multi-belt champion soon. Because how many fights you got in you? You come up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. You got these big men banging away at you. He's only got to walk into one, and the bar's up for him. And he's on a good win over Anthony Joshua. He had a good fight with the American Miller, and at the end of the day, I just think it's a young man's game, and anything can happen. But you could well see a new champion in Wembley soon.
So unpack there, and first of all, look, you said you don't want to discuss obviously what happened between you and Tyson. I respect that absolutely, but I want to ask you from your point of view where it left you, because not only as someone who's a trainer in the corner who can affect and give instructions, but you're also the father too. So being on the outside watching, not being able to give instructions, and also as a father watching your son go through that fight the second time around, how did it leave you?
To be honest with you, you can lead a horse to water, but whether it drinks or not doesn't matter. And
good question.
See me, I'm very untrusting of people, especially if they're not blood-kinned, because basically, like I've said before, where a man's looking to make money and is depending on that money, you're never going to get the truth out of him. They need you in that ring, come what may. They're going to blow that much smoke up your ass. They're going to tell you how great you are just to get paid. I don't do that. I will tell him. I'll say, listen, that's no good.
Right, I've got to pause it there. Can't take it anymore. So, in the Usyk fight, he was losing, and he was telling him that he was winning, and all he has to do is get on his bike, stick the jab out, move around the ring, and keep him away. You can't do that to Usyk. He's got too much good head movement, slipping the jab. He needed to close the distance to make it the advice he was giving him wasn't good.
Hang on a minute, Chris. A minute ago, he's saying he needs to put on 30 pounds of dry as a bone muscle and go in there and steamroller him. So what? He did contradicted himself. Like, I can't, this. So in 1 minute he's saying one thing, and the next minute he's saying something else. And then, like you say, in the corner, he's telling him he's winning. Oh, you're up, son. Telling him to dance around the ring and flick his jab out now and again. Well, what? I don't know. I don't get it. Make his mind up. Do
you know what's really funny, though, about him saying, if they're not your family or your blood, you can't trust them, yeah? Well, what about when Shane Fury was sat there with his cousin, Andy Lee, and he said, my dad's advice was the wrong advice. He said, my dad was giving him advice of a father, stay away from Usyk because he's going to hurt, basically telling him to stay away because he probably could see that he's going to get hurt. So he's saying, stay away from him because he's sensing it. And Shane Fury's saying, but the advice of a coach is to get the win. He's going to tell him, right, bite down on your gum shield, head up, tuck up, and fucking go for it because you're losing.
Yeah.
You need to get the KO to win. Yeah.
It was the father in him, wasn't it?
Yeah. And his own son, and that's blood, told him the truth. So his own words bit him in the ass there because his advice wasn't from trying to win, telling his son the truth. He was lying to protect his son. That's what Shane said anyway. He wasn't giving him the advice to win the fight. He was giving him advice to get through the fight. and not take any more heavy shots and get himself knocked out. Doing it because Tyson Fury's been in America too long. That's why he went with that strategy in the 2.
It's no good. All these, for my money, a lot wants kicking down the road. You know, because the fight itself, you know, I was expecting a second time for them to realise, okay, he's had the rest, 3-month camp, expecting him come in there like an Adonis. I believed in what I've done because he likes people to tell him how great he is, which is it's a bad trait, isn't it? And I've always said, if he's not your father or your mother or your brother, you can't put your trust in him. And he's put his trust in him and he's come up short. That's it, really. Can't say no more. Can't say any more.
There's a third fight to happen between the two of them, which Tyson seems to have earmarked as one that he wants. What needs to change for him to get the result on the scorecards this time round?
He's got to, what can I say? He's got to he's got to spend time on his physique. Forget the boxing. He needs 12 months on his physique properly to get some muscle on his frame. You know, and if he's not prepared to work his rocks off for the next 6 months, just getting his body right. He's got the boxing side of it covered. He cannot teach a great champion like him nothing. He's a boxer tricks. But what's letting him down is his physical condition, his lack of muscle, his lack of body strength, and his lack of power.
I do agree with that.
First fight, because first of all, I want to get your trainer's perspective on that 9th round. And
he's not, so he's the best coach in the world. He's a strength and conditioning coach now.
Guiding Tyson back to the task after he took that hellacious shot and survived through it. But also the flack that you took for what was picked up on the cameras, you took a lot of criticism for. That's your right reply on that, and as well guiding Tyson back into the fight.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for me in his corner, he'd been knocked out. Simple as that. He was listening to the wrong instruction when he got caught. Going to the left of a southpaw. I'm a southpaw. You don't go to the left on me because I'll catch you. You know. He was listening to the ill advice. There's too many people in the corner. I'm his father, and if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't. He not only stayed in the fight, he won the 11th. He shared the 10th because his legs was gone in the 10th. Because he was a miracle man to get out of the 9th round. But it was me what kept him in there. If it had been left to them, he'd have been knocked out. Because it was me what said, right, you got to get behind your jab, you got to box, slip and slide, move around, use your brains, and just get your legs back. And he did that, and he won the 11th and the 12th. So like I say, if it had been down to me, they never got caught in the first place. He was just listening to people he believed in, what hasn't got any fighting experience, and at the end of the day, if he was
Sugar Hill.
In the 12th round, I think I did give Fury that round, but it was a swing one. It could have gone either way, and he won that because he was holding his feet and swinging it out because he was too knackered to fucking move anywhere, and he just won that round on pure heart and will and determination. Like, obviously, Fury is he has got a heart, like, never say die. Well, in the first fight he did. In the second fight, I think he jacked a little bit because later on in the rounds, I think he just kind of gave up because he wasn't committing to try and get the KO. And kept on backing off without throwing.
Was that good of a trainer, Sugar Hill. His uncle Emmanuel left him the top job, wouldn't he? He left him the full business. Jonathan Banks ended up with it. Why didn't Tommy Hearns have Sugar Hill? Why didn't Lennox Lewis have him? Why didn't all the other Kronk fighters have him? There's a reason for it.
Yeah, Emmanuel Stewart was still alive. That's why. And like Jordan Banks, he was a good trainer. He was training. You can't just give someone a business because it's your nephew. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Why has all these British fighters had him and sacked him? Because he's incapable. And I'm the first to say it. I don't mind the man as a man.
I don't agree with that. The reason why that they all sacked him, Sugar Hill, is because he lives in America and he won't. The only time he comes over to England is when he's training Fury. He lives in Fury's house. Coley, all the others, he won't. He comes over 2 weeks before the fight or something, or they have to go to America. And a lot of fighters, they want to do their camps at home. It's got nothing to do with his coaching ability. I don't think. What do you think?
He's got to be in his bonnet about Sugar Hill, mate. But he said this about Ben Davison when he had Ben Davison. 1 minute he's singing his praises, he's brought him back from the brink, and then he's no good because he's dancing around too much and he needs a more of a pressure, Kronk-style coach. He got Sugar Hill in. After the Wilder trilogy, he's the second best trainer ever. Now he's no good anymore. Look, listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Look, John Fury's entertaining. He's always, like him or loathe him, he's entertaining. But the guy's a raging narcissist. If he has to make everything about him. If he doesn't make it about him and he's not in the limelight and he's not I mean, if he sat there, right, and this is just my, if he sat there and went, you know what, I got this wrong, I got that wrong, but actually this I felt was right, that I felt, it's just everything. If it wasn't for me, and if it was it's just a raging narcissist, mate.
Yeah, I think he's just jealous, because he wants to be his trainer. Even I remember this. If anyone can remember, they did behind the scenes at the Klitschko when he was training for the Klitschko fight, and Peter was training him, and Peter and Tyson and his dad were rowing because the dad was saying that he's sparring too hard, and then Tyson was like, "Fucking, if Klitschko's going to kill me, if these guys don't kill me, he definitely will. I can take it, and I've got to take it." That's what Fury was saying to his dad, screaming at him. And his dad walked out the gym and said, "You're going to lose. You're fucking it all up." Criticising his own brother's training, his own brother. He just wanted to be Tyson.
Peter Fury's the far better trainer. I don't really know what John's done as a trainer. I mean, look you only have to look at the work he's doing with his other son, Tommy. I mean, some of the corner working advice he was given at the weekend wasn't great. Like, come on, like it's not great. But he won't. He's not self-aware enough, Chris. This is the problem. He can't reflect and improve.
No. Yeah, that's it. And I think Tommy Fury, he's got worse. Like, if he rematches Jake Paul, he might lose this time.
Gone backwards, isn't he? Gone backwards. At least Jake Paul, you can see a bit of improvement. He is improving a little bit. Yeah. Like,
and it's just terrible, mate.
Talking on boxing terms only, the man's a very nice man. He's never done me no harm in any way, shape, or form. But we're talking boxing politics here. You know what I'm saying to you? And they just don't work Tyson hard enough. He's too soft with him. And Tyson's telling him what to do half the time. And like I say, they're not going to tell him he's wrong because he needs the money. But what I can say is the public can kiss my bell end. I couldn't give one flying fuck about them.
Class.
But without me, he wouldn't have made it to the 12th round. Because let me tell you, when you're in trouble, you got to do what you can to keep out of trouble. You can't go gung-hoing it when you've got no leg underneath you. His legs was gone. He took a shot. He was drained before he went to the fight. Because I told him, I said, take the £10 million fine. They're not going to fine you. It's bullshit. You're the star of the show. But listen, he's fighting on an empty tank. He might have looked
right. Look at that. I know we've been pulling.
And for mine, when he walked the first 7 or 8 rounds.
Because I always hate it. I always hate it when people, when I watch these, I always hate it when people keep pausing it too much. So I know we've been doing it quite a lot, but I want to make a really important point on this. He's saying, "Oh, Tyson, he was shot to bits in fighting on empty the road." What did Eubank Jr. do against Conor Benn? What did Eubank Jr. do against Conor Benn? His feet and his legs started to go, right? He was definitely running.
But listen, he's fighting on an empty tank. He might have looked all right, but he's putting punches together. And for mine, when he walked the first 7 or 8 rounds, didn't he? He walked him. He was bashing Usyk all over the ring. It was a one-sided affair. But he made the mistake in listening to the wrong advice, going left on the southpaw. Oh, he's not prepared for it. He's not trained for a man going left on him. Guess what? Usyk's too good for that. He went left and Usyk popped the left hand straight over, right down the pipe. Bang! Changed the full fight. It took everything out of him because he had nothing in it to start with. Just boxing skill-wise, brilliantly. But I thought, you know what? I knew he never had the resilience because, he'd had no time to rest and work on his conditioning properly. But he did so well.
Neither did Usyk.
To recover in the 9th round, showed world-class art. And any lesser man would have hit that floor and not got up. You'll never see a fighting art like the Gypsy King. And I'm proud of my boy, no matter what the decision is. And I don't care what people think. He finished the fight on his feet. It was a split decision, and he won the last 2 rounds. So people can say what they want because they're all jealous. They're jealous of a father and son thing. And let me tell you something. All problems, my friend, they're very close to home. You know that? They're very close to home. So what I say to them, if they want to put their trust in people who's only after money, and so-called this modern word, coup fucking dos, get some oil in your can, fuck them all off, and start again properly, Tommy's had a million opportunities to go. He's had a million of them. He said, "Dad, they don't train anything, they don't do any work. They don't do nothing." He's here for a reason, isn't he? I know it's on a lot lower level, but look how I've guided this kid. Look what I put in his life.
What's it
to? Yeah, look how you've guided Tommy, the fighting plumbers from Moldova,
and I just
that you're going life and death with.
You know, if you can go
What's he
through
talking
life,
about?
Yeah, that'll do, mate. That'll do, Mr. Fury.
I can't hear any more of that going down that route. Bloody
It's-
hell! Look. This is before we end this, right? Because I'll be objective because I like to be objective. I don't like to be all feelings, right? Some of what he said in that interview, he makes some good points.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
But a lot of it is father-son bias, which I understand. A lot of it is pure delusion, narcissism, inability to self-reflect, inability to look at himself and his flaws and his mistakes, which you need to do as a human being to evolve and to improve. And as a trainer, as a father, being an influence to other people is vitally important,
Yeah.
But him it's making a statement like that you laughed at there, which summed it up. Oh, look at what I'm doing with Tommy. All right, you've navigated. The reason Tommy Fury is as famous and is making as much money as he is because he's very good looking. He was on Love Island. He married a famous person from Love Island. You know, he got on the misfit scene, fought Jake. That's the reason. It's not on anything you've done, right? And to improve his boxing acumen and ability. He's completely delusional, Chris. On some of his points, it's bizarre.
Like, he's sitting there acting like, look what I've done with my pound shop Tyson Fury, Roman Fury,
wish version,
and Tommy. Like, what Tommy? If you think that beating KSI and beating Jake Paul, who aren't boxers, when you've been teaching him how to fight since he was fucking 8 years old, is an achievement. You need your head fucking sorted, mate. Seriously. How is that an achievement to beat YouTubers?
Don't forget the Moldovan Uber drivers, Chris, as well. Don't forget them.
Oh, yeah. He had 100 amateur fights and like fucking 5 losses.
Yeah. What was it? 500 amateur fights and won about 6.
Yeah. But he's sitting there with a straight face. Look what I've achieved with my 2 boys. Nothing. Like, I would love to be that reporter and say, like what? Like world titles, area titles, English titles, British titles, European titles, ABA championship,
in terms of,
Golden Gloves.
I don't know how much credit he can take from it, other than being their father and giving that fatherly. I'm not dismissing that. I'm sure he's been a good dad in many respects. But Tommy Fury and Tyson Fury have become very successful millionaire. 2 completely different talents, but have become successful because of the trainers they've had around them. People like Ben Davison, Sugar Hill, Andy Lee, I would give credit to, and their own talent
Peter Fury,
God-given talents they've been given. Peter Fury, I don't know him sitting there saying, he's basically sort of saying it's all on my shoulders that they've got to where they've got to, which is a bit of a bizarre thing to say, isn't it, really? But there we are.
Yeah, so I think in conclusion, before we wrap it up, he's got his dad goggles on. Some of the stuff he was saying was true, but he just can't say the words that he got beat. He just can't admit it, even though I think he knows. He really knows, but he just knows Tyson's going to be watching, and everything that preaching that he was doing there, where he was listing all the narcissist delusion, that was absolutely spot on. His delusionist fan, not all that. Like, he just needs to get out of a daydream land and get in the real world, because this fame's not going to last.
Because, and closing thoughts off the back of what you've said there, Chris, because if he was to have a third fight with Usyk, or even go in there against AJ, who I think will be pretty motivated, if you can't make adjustments, if you're going into those fights, whether he fights Usyk for a third fight or AJ, thinking that you won those 2 against Usyk, and what changes really you're going to make? Is you generally learn more from your losses. And it seems to me like a little bit like, is his team around people like John Fury? I hope the rest of his team aren't saying the same, that, we thought you won that. I think he needs to, because look at what's happened to Wilder's career, Chris, because of this, because he couldn't accept the defeats. It's not just a good look, is it?
No, the main point that John Fury is banging on about so much to say, family, yeah? He's saying family's only ones who are going to tell you the truth, yeah? And everyone else is blowing smoke up your ass. You're the only one who's telling him that he fucking won the fight when he never. Your truth is what's fucking him up anyway. Because you're telling him he won, but family tells the
Do you
truth.
think Andy Lee? Do you think Andy Lee, who's for me trainer of the year so far? Do you think Andy Lee, if he was really, because do you remember after the thing is, I think Tyson Fury's a little bit in delusion as well. Do you remember, Chris, after the second Usyk fight, he saw Ben Davidson in the hallway and he said, "What did you think, Ben?
Yeah,
what did you think? You thought I won that, didn't you?" Because what he's doing, he's obviously trying to get mouthpieces around him to go, "I won, didn't I? I won," because of his inflated ego. And Ben went, "Yeah, to be fair, I thought you won that." I'm thinking, "Oh, Ben, you shill. You absolutely, that's not helping him. What are you doing? Come on."
Probably fucking never speak to him again if he. But Tyson Fury's the type of person. If he would have said after the loss, he'd have a panic. Look what he did to True Geordie because he didn't want to see the fucking Chisora trilogy that no one wanted to see.
The thing is, it's tough, Chris, when you want access, right? Because if me and you were interviewing Tyson, if we ever get the opportunity, right, it's a different beast being in there. And say if he asks us off camera or whatever, like, "Oh, did you think I won the first Usyk fights?" And because you want access and to interview, "Oh yeah, Tyson, yeah." I'd to be honest, I'd want to I'd like to think and hold me to this. I'd like to think and say, "Look, I've been a big fan of your career. You know, I've watched you since the ITV and Channel 5 days. I think it was Channel 5 we started on. The John McDermott days. Yeah. Mate, people at work call me fucking Tyson because I suppose I'm big and bald and bearded like him, whatever." Right? You know, I was one of his biggest fans. But I'll be honest. I thought they were both close. But I did think you lost him. I'm just being honest. And if he throws me a right hand right on my chin, so be it. It is what it is.
You have to take it. Right. Gonna have to wrap it up now, guys.
Nice one.
Please like and subscribe. Please give us your comments. Give us your comments, guys. Peace and love.
Hello everyone, Chris Phillips Smith here. Make sure you tune in to Boxing Bros UK.